Good morning, evening, or night, wherever you are. Welcome to WHAM today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world. One quiet thought at a time. As we wrap up Saturday, 5th July, 2025, let's see what stories are unfolding around us. India's stock market faces uncertainty from the pending India-US trade deal and upcoming Q1 results. A positive trade agreement could stimulate the market and attract foreign investment. However, unresolved tariff concerns might cause market fluctuations. Piyush Goyal emphasized India's commitment to prioritizing its national interests in trade agreements. The Indian stock market closed negatively last week, influenced by the trade deal's ambiguity. Billionaire Uday Kotak voiced concerns about the Indian market, citing increasing influence of money and liquidity imbalances. SEBI has banned Jane Street for alleged market manipulation, sparking debate over their tactics and profits in India. Gujarat has become the third Indian state to surpass 1 crore stock market investors, according to the NSE. Foreign investors increased their holdings of Indian shares in June for the third consecutive month, with financials as their preferred sector. Haryana's CM, Nayab Singh Sahni, announced plans to construct India's first Disneyland-style theme park in Manasar, near Delhi. Taihu Hyundai is partnering with Cochin Shipyard to integrate Korean shipbuilding practices into India. Sumit Bagadia suggests 3 specific stocks for purchase that are priced under YOCO 100. Saudi Arabia is undergoing a major economic transformation, leveraging its vast mineral wealth and embracing circular economy principles through innovative waste management strategies. The Kingdom's Sovereign Wealth Fund, the Public Investment Fund, PIF, has set a new ambitious target of $2.67 trillion assets by 2030 after successfully surpassing its previous year's objectives. In a move towards international cooperation, Saudi Arabia is collaborating with Indonesia on energy transition initiatives, while LG Electronics partners with local universities to develop advanced HVAC technology tailored for heatwave conditions. Domestically, Saudi Arabia is actively combating corruption, having recently exposed 18 significant cases involving medical professionals, law enforcement officers, and government officials. Prince Sultan University is also extending opportunities to international students by offering scholarships for Pakistani nationals. Stepping into a leadership role within OPEC+, Saudi Arabia has influenced an agreement to accelerate oil supply increases starting next month, a strategic decision aimed at recapturing market share and potentially lowering global oil prices due to an anticipated surplus. Turning to OPEC+, the organization has agreed to boost oil production starting in August. This decision, driven by Saudi Arabia's strategic objectives, is projected to increase supply and potentially lower oil prices, as the market anticipates demand being outpaced. In sports news, Cambodia celebrated a victory over Saudi Arabia with a 2-1 win in a Women's Asian Cup qualifier match. China is solidifying its position as a tech and trade powerhouse. Hangzhou is becoming a key center for AI startups due to government support aiming to compete with Silicon Valley. A U.S. executive order favoring domestic drones might affect China's current drone market leadership. China's dominance in rare earth production has caused major environmental damage. Sludge is contaminated with heavy metals and radioactive thorium, creating health hazards. This dominance was initially built on relaxed environmental regulations and state support. Shanghai has opened its first Legoland theme park. In trade, China will exempt major cognac producers from EU brandy dumping tariffs. Tech Intelligence claims China planned an attack on Taiwan's former vice president, Hsiao Be-Kim, during a visit to Prague. Japan is facing concerns about potential U.S. tariffs that are affecting the nation's business sentiment. Despite these worries, a recent survey indicates that the overall business mood in Japan remains stable. To address us, trade demands, Japanese political and business leaders are reportedly seeking to appease President Donald Trump. Japan's top trade negotiator has engaged in in-depth discussions with Lutnick, holding 2 phone meetings to address trade issues according to the Japanese government. Meanwhile, the Tokara Islands are experiencing intense seismic activity, with over 1,000 earthquakes recorded, leading to government warnings of further strong tremors. An active volcano eruption alert is also in effect in Japan, raising concerns about Mount Fuji and prompting increased interest in its history, science, and past eruptions. Syria is seeing renewed diplomatic activity as British Foreign Secretary David Lammy met with interim President Ahmad al-Sharaa in Damascus to explore enhanced cooperation following the easing of sanctions. Meanwhile, Ukraine is claiming a successful strike on a Russian airbase located in the Voronezh region. Further escalating tensions, reports suggest that Ukrainian forces have killed a high-ranking Russian Navy commander, recently promoted by President Vladimir Putin. In response, Russia is allegedly carrying out a large-scale drone attack targeting Kyiv. Poland is now accusing Vladimir Putin of undermining former President Trump's attempts to broker peace in Ukraine, as President Zelensky denounces a cynical Russian offensive. Russia is eliminating its wheat export duty to stimulate sales. Concerning defense, Russian air defense has reportedly intercepted 4 drones en route to Moscow, according to the city's mayor. In international relations, Russia has declared its readiness to offer military support to North Korea, if circumstances require it. In the realm of financial technology, Rostec has introduced Rubex and Arte Pay to facilitate Russia's transition to blockchain-based payments. A raid on a Russian media organization in Azerbaijan's capital suggests escalating tensions between Moscow and Baku. Australia faced both economic opportunities and security challenges. Qantas Airways reported a cyber attack impacting approximately 6 million customer accounts, raising concerns about data security. In the business sector, a father-son duo celebrated a significant $285 million gain from an initial public offering. Further expanding its presence, Coinbase integrated Liquify into its institutional services within Australia, also adding PayPal as a payment option for users. Turning to India, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI Chairman Tuhan Kantapandi emphasized a strict approach to market manipulation. This statement followed an order issued against the US-based hedge fund Jane Street, signaling increased regulatory scrutiny. Meanwhile, the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, ASIC's case file, related to Gupta is growing, suggesting ongoing developments in the investigation. New Zealand anticipates a surge in luxury home demand due to its revamped active investor. Plus, IP, Golden Visa Program, relaunched in April. The program is particularly attractive to wealthy individuals from Hong Kong and mainland China. There. Approximately 200 applications have been received thus far, with the United States topping the list at 85 applicants. Mainland China follows with 26 applicants, with Hong Kong also showing considerable interest. Canada's Indigenous groups are actively seeking greater involvement in Prime Minister Mark Carney's infrastructure initiatives, which aim to reshape the nation's economy. Amidst ongoing market volatility, a dividend stock boasting a 4.4% yield is being recommended as a resilient investment option for Canadian investors. Turning to France, CNBC broadcasted live from Vivatech in Paris, where executives engaged in discussions about artificial intelligence, business scaling strategies, and Europe's competitive position against the United States and China in the realm of technological innovation. France is also advocating for the implementation of tariff barriers to shield its industries from increasing Chinese competition. Furthermore, the EU pharma chief is calling for the creation of a European Nasdaq to stimulate biotech innovation. In South Korea, the securities market is contemplating the adoption of separate taxation policies as a means to incentivize increased dividend payout. Meanwhile, a North Korean soldier crossed the demilitarized zone, DMZ, into South Korea, successfully evading landmines. Seoul is now adopting a more conciliatory stance towards Pyongyang. The United States is seeing a decline in the value of the dollar, attributed to President Trump's imposition of tariffs and the prevailing uncertainty surrounding the Federal Reserve's monetary policies. Asian markets are closely monitoring the upcoming US payrolls data, anticipating its potential impact alongside Trump's tax legislation. Iran is actively pursuing stronger ties with BRICS nations, viewing this alliance as a strategic counterbalance to the influence exerted by the United States and other Western powers. However, the cohesion of this alliance is being tested by recent military actions impacting Iran. Supreme Leader Khamenei made his first public appearance since the beginning of the Israel-Iran conflict. In Israel, leaders have strongly condemned attacks targeting Jewish religious sites in Australia. Nigeria sees GATO plc become the first financial services institution in West Africa to achieve a listing and have its ordinary shares traded on the London Stock Exchange. Indonesia's capital market now boasts 17 million investors, according to reports from the IDX. The nation is also collaborating with Saudi Arabia to achieve shared objectives in energy transition. Kuwait has received financial bids for the $3.90 billion expansion project of its Azor North Independent Water and Power Project. IWP Kati De T. While teaching in Denmark, Professor Marina Cooley discovered that hobbies are integral to joy and balance in life. South Africa is currently engaged in discussions centered on the legacy of Mabuza and the future trajectory of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, JSE, at a critical political juncture. Taiwan's Foxconn reported record second quarter revenue, fueled by the AI boom, but cautioned about potential risks related to geopolitics and currency fluctuations. Morocco's recent issuance of Islamic bonds is perceived as a strategic maneuver to access and further develop emerging Islamic finance markets. Saudi Arabia is partnering with Indonesia to achieve shared goals in energy transition. Cambodia mounted a comeback to beat Saudi Arabia 2-1 in the Women's Asian Cup qualifier. Turkmenistan is collaborating with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, to further develop its securities market. Vietnam's economy is experiencing rapid growth as buyers accelerate purchases to avoid anticipated tariffs imposed by the U.S. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index is undergoing a pullback, following a strong rally in the first half of 2025. Looking elsewhere, a global shortage of switch, 2 components, is anticipated to persist into the coming year. Market analysts report that July is typically a period of seasonal strength, with a summer rally often materializing in European stock markets. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on Wham Today.